Good afternoon. When I go back to my country, I'm planning to ordain, and some of the teachers have told me to break off contact with my family, but it doesn't feel very compassionate because it seems to hurt them. And I was just wondering, how often I can see them and speak to them. They live in a different country to me.
Well, ideally, it's better to be separated from them during the initial period, because you want to cut off your flow of your thought toward them, because it can be an impediment to your practice. If you keep thinking about them, you want to contact, you want to see them. So this will then prevent you from meditating and get to the depth of your mind, because you still cling to your family, your friends. So look at it as just a probational period. It's not something permanent. It's for your benefit, this thing, for you to just tell them that you want to be isolated temporarily to develop the mental strength. Because if you're in constant contact, sometimes you can be emotional. After you talk to them, seeing them, when you're left alone, you will become sad and lonely. So it's better to be sad and lonely once, rather than be sad and lonely every time you have contact with them. Then it will be just like seesawing, you will never get anywhere. So it's better just to tell them that this is the probational period that you need to be alone, that you're not running away from them or hate them or anything like that. It's like going to a hospital and be isolated from people so that the doctor can fix your illness. That's all. No contact temporarily until you have enough strength to know that by contacting them doesn't bother you anymore, doesn't hurt you. Then you can contact them. The Buddha spent only 6 years alone, see. After 6 years, he's contact with everybody. Yeah. But his mind no longer attached to them. Seeing them or not seeing them have the same result. Doesn't make him happy or sad. Seeing them doesn't make him any happier. Not seeing them makes him any sadder. Yeah. You have to get to that point before you can go out to the world and then deal with people. If you want to succeed in your practice. Otherwise, why bother? If you ordain and you practice but you don't get anywhere, so it just might as well stay with your family all the time. If you want, you have to use rationality. See, what is your goal? Your goal is you want to have freedom from suffering. And the only way to do it, you have to be isolated from everybody. Yeah. Even people you live in the same monastery, you're not supposed to have any close contact with them. You only just know each other, but you don't spend time clinging and associating and developing relationship. This is not the way for someone who wants to go and never come back. You have to don't look back. Once you on this path, don't turn your back. Just keep moving forward. Then you'll get there very quickly and easily. But if you keep looking back, you will be pulling back. You will be pulled back. Every time you think about your friends and your family, then you have to see them, talk to them. Yeah. Then you just keep going back and forth. All right?
Thank you.
Okay. Separation is not permanent, it's just temporarily. Just like an astronaut, you have to go into space. You cannot take your family with you when you go into space. But after you finish your mission, you come back. And then you greet your family. Okay? All right. Any more? That's all? That's all for today, huh? All right. Maybe tomorrow you'll think of something else. Okay. Try to develop as much mindfulness as possible all the time. This is the key to your success in meditation. You have to be able to curb your thinking by using something else, like a mantra, or concentrating on what you do. Use your body as your object of meditation. When you move around, just keep watching what you do. Don't let your mind go somewhere else. And when you sit, you can either use the mantra or you can watch your breath. And try to do a lot of this. Do nothing else, just mindfulness and meditation. Then you'll move very quickly. Don't waste time with people. Don't talk to them. Don't do things that you don't really have to do. Do only things that you have to do, like taking care of your body, wash your clothes and eat and this sort of thing. But don't do any other social activity. It's just a waste of time. It's a hindrance. All right? Okay. You should try to read Dhamma book every day, maybe an hour a day, because you will then have something to remind you what you're supposed to do. That's what I used to do, even when I was staying with a teacher in a monastery, because he doesn't teach every day. So every day I read his book, about an hour a day. Reading his book is like listening to his talk, because it's transcribed into letter. And when you read it, you just pick it up and then it goes into your mind. And it can calm your mind also. If you read books by meditation master, they come from a calm mind, and their teaching can calm your mind as you read. All right? Okay. You have question? Okay.
Hello, Ajahn. The reason why I came here in the first place, one of the reasons is because it's been 2 years since I've traveled around Thailand, donating to monasteries, and their stories inspire me so much that I've been thinking to ordain. And I asked you in my questions from email, and you've answered it regarding about ordination for a limited time. And you said if you want to ordain, then you should not think of disrobing. And I was thinking of ordaining in Thailand and staying here. But one of my friends have the monastery in Mukdahan, and he told me to ordain there. But I'm afraid language can become a barrier there, because very little people speak Thai, speak English there, and also I'm not very confident that I can abide by the 227 Vinayas of the monks. Can Ajahn please?
Well, normally, for people who want to be an ordained monk, they first should be just what you call temporary monk first, by just wearing the white robe instead of the yellow robe. Then you can sort of learn how to keep all the 227 precepts. Yeah. Because if you become a monk, suddenly you are forced to follow the 227 precepts, which you might not be able to. And if you break them, it will make you feel bad and can be a problem for your practice. So normally, like in Ajahn Chah monastery, for foreigners, they let you take the 8 precepts, but you live like a monk, practice like a monk. In the morning, you go with the monk on Bintabat, you help carry the food, and when you come back, you eat with the monk. The monk will give you a share of your food, and you eat separately, but you do the same thing as monk do. You go on Bintabat, collect food, come back, you have your one day a meal. Then when you finish, you help clean up the place. After you finish, then you go back to your living quarter, and then you practice meditation, developing mindfulness, walking meditation, sitting meditation. And then in the afternoon, you help do the work in the temple with the monks. Whatever the monks do, you do with them. So you can become a what you call a fake monk, not a real monk. But in essence, you're doing the same thing as a monk does. But if you should break the precept or anything, it would not hurt you that way. See. So usually for a monastery who that will ordain you, like Ajahn Chah monastery, the monastery will require you to take the 8 precepts for 1 year first. Yeah. But if you can have a monastery that can ordain you right away, if you want to ordain you can, because in Thailand there are different standards in different monastery. Some monastery doesn't require you anything. You can ordain in the morning and disrobe in the afternoon if you like.
Yeah, because my friend it is in Mukdahan, it's Long Puluan's monastery.
Okay.
Yeah, he said if there's anyone who wants to ordain, just let me know and it will be arranged. But I'm not sure that I can abide by all the Vinayas.
That's why you have to take the 8 precepts first, and then try to observe the Vinaya. Why you still not a monk? See, learn before you do it.
As a layperson, or
yeah, as a layperson living in a monastery like a monk do.
Okay.
Actually, most of the precepts, 227 precepts, they are almost what you call outdated. You hardly have to worry about them, Especially if you stay in a monastery and you follow what the monk do, you hardly break anything.
But in Ajahn Chah's monastery, it's mostly foreigners. So, is it actually will a language become a barrier there?
Well, with Westerners, with English speakers, then you don't have any language problem. If you live in a Thai monastery where no one speaks English, then that can be a problem. What you have to look at, the most important thing is a teacher, someone who can guide and teach you. If your teacher doesn't speak your language, then it can be difficult. It's not impossible. Because at Ajahn Chah monastery, when it first started, Ajahn Sumeto didn't speak Thai, and Ajahn Chah didn't speak English, but they used the sign language, I guess. They used body language, and just you can learn by that a lot. You don't need to understand the word. You just follow the action. Whatever the teacher does, you do it. Do just like he does. Then you're in good shape.
How about you, Ajahn Suchart?
Well, see, I'm not the abbot here, so I'm not able to say yes or no to anyone who comes. I cannot say you're welcome if we have a space for you, but how long you can stay is up to the abbot. You have to get permission from him. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Any more?
Kun Sheen Ross, I read in the biography of Ajahn Mun that he gave up a bodhisattva vow from a past life to become an arahant. Do you know how he did this?
Well, see, before he gave up this vow, he'd been involved helping other people, teaching other people, because at the state he already knew how to meditate, but he hasn't yet reached the highest point. So he couldn't go to the highest point because he was more concerned about helping other people, teaching people how to meditate, how to study the Dhamma. So eventually he got fed up. He know if he kept doing this, he would never achieve his ultimate goal. So he went away and lived alone in the forest for the next 10 years in Chiang Mai, in northern Thailand. That's why he eventually became enlightened, fully enlightened. Once he became fully enlightened, then he was invited to come back and teach. Then he came back and teach for the next 10 years until he died around 80. At the age of 60, I think he went away and lived alone in the forest for 10 years. And then after he became enlightened and invited to come and teach to people, then he came back at the age of 70 and teach until he was 80. Then he passed away. Okay, I hope if you read his biography, I think thoroughly you will get to this story. He eventually have to go and live alone, because if he lives in a monastery with other people, people will come around and ask for help, ask for him for advice for his teaching, and he could not deny them due to his vow that he would help other people. So only way to break this vow is to be isolated, to stay in a place where nobody could approach him. Then when no one could approach him, then he didn't have to say no to them. Okay.
So in the morning when I get up sometimes, the body feels very tired, and I feel like I am tired, but I know it's just the body. So how can I separate like the mind, the body, and the like feelings and emotions?
Well, you have to use acknowledgement. Just acknowledge that this is the body. The mind is the one who knows. So you have to separate the mind from the body by treating the body like a patient, while the mind is the doctor. The doctor look at the patient and ask, "How are you?" And the body say, "I'm sick." Okay, get some medicine, but the doctor doesn't have to be sick with the body. Just know that the mind is the one who knows, who acknowledge what's happening to the body. But the mind is not sick. But due to the mind's ignorance and the habit of thinking that the mind is the body, so whatever happens to the body, the mind feels that it is also feeling that way. In fact, so you have to teach your mind that it doesn't get sick with the body. But the mind can get sick because the mind, due to its delusion, still think that it is the body. So this thing might take some time to convince yourself. The best way to do it, to separate the mind from the body, is to meditate. When you meditate, you automatically detach your mind from your body, and your mind becomes neutral. Then it can look at the body as merely the body. So you need to meditate to really to be able to really separate the mind from the body. But if you cannot, at least you can tell yourself that you are the mind. You're just observing the body, and maybe it can help somewhat if you have the right attitude looking at the body as somebody else. When you look at other people who get sick, you don't feel sick with them, right? So try to look at your body like that it is another person's body. You are merely observing it. Okay? Clear enough?
Thank you.
All right. But the best thing to do is try to meditate. Because when you meditate, you have the strength to actually separate the mind from the body. By merely just telling yourself, sometimes it's not strong enough to separate the mind from the body. So you should try to meditate a lot with mindfulness. So you need a lot of mindfulness before you can meditate successfully. So try to stop thinking, stop wandering, going back to the past or going to the future. Try to keep the mind in the present. Just merely know what's going on without having any commentary on what's going on. Just like watching your body, just watch. Just know what the body is doing. And stay with the body. Don't let the mind go away to the past or to the future. If you can do this when you meditate, your mind can become concentrated at one point, at the breath. Then the mind can become still and calm and separated from the body temporarily. Okay?
Check. Okay. Yes. My first question is, sometimes I feel after I come out from meditation and start to deal with things and people, I tend to become more anxious than usual. So why is that so, and how to overcome that?
Because you let go of your mindfulness. Once you come out, you forget to restore your mindfulness. You let the mind run wild, let it do whatever it feels like to do. So it creates all this anxiety and bad feelings. So you should continue on with your mindfulness after you come out of meditation. You can use either watching your body or reciting a mantra. Especially when you start to feel bad, you know that you're not mindful. Then you should start bring back your mindfulness by reciting Bhutto, Bhutto, Bhutto for a few minutes, and then your bad feeling will disappear. See, so we tend to forget mindfulness. We like to be mindless. We like to let the mind go adrift,
Yes.
do whatever it wants to do. So the mind will usually create cravings and desire, and then you will start to have bad feelings. So you should stop it, either by mindfulness, or if you know the cause of your restlessness, the agitation, then you can either use wisdom, say, it's my craving, I want this and that, and when I'm not getting this and that, I start to feel restless and agitated. So I must resist and stop my cravings and desire. Once you can stop, then your restlessness and agitation will disappear.
Okay. My next question is, why do I find that the sexual desire tend to be more pronounced during meditation retreat compared to my normal days?
Well, because you have to, the sensual desire is being curved more when you're in a retreat. You cannot let your eyes, ears, nose, tongue see or hear things normally, because you have to meditate. So the desire can become stronger because it's like a pressure cooker. When you have no exit for the steam inside, then it can build up to become very strong. But when you're not in meditation retreat, you can see and hear and do things whenever you like. So you have some form of releasing the pressure from your sensual desire. So you don't feel it that strong. But when you go into a retreat, you are closing the pressure release. The what you call the place where the pressure can come out. So it builds up inside your mind and becomes strong. So you need to, only way to deal with this is mindfulness and meditation. Because when you have mindfulness, or when you meditate, you stop the mind from creating cravings and desire. Then the pressure will subside and disappear temporarily. But as soon as you come out your meditation, if you're not mindful, then you start to creating more cravings and desire again.
Okay. The next questions are actually from my mother. The first is we have a relative who is really old, and then due to certain illness, sometimes he can't think properly and has some physical limitation, so he can't do much actually now. So what can we do to help him?
Well, you should treat him like a baby. And this is what the body will become. When it start like a baby. When it ends like a baby. It goes back. It will slowly losing its ability to help itself, to take care of itself. So then it's up to you to help and help the person when he cannot help himself.
What about helping him to do merits? Is there any way?
This is something he has to know first. If he doesn't know what merit is, and doing it, what's the purpose of getting what you get from doing it, then it's useless. So he has to know. It's like eating something. He has to know what he's going to eat. If he eats something, and how he will feel from eating that thing. If he feels good, then he would want to eat it. The same way with making marriage, like dana, is to make you feel better. But if he doesn't know that, then he won't feel better. He wouldn't want to do it. And so first you have to explain to him that if you want to feel better, you have to do some dana or listen to Dhamma talk. Dana is easier to get the result, although it's smaller. Dana is, he has to sacrifice, he has to give up his money for the benefit of other people. This he has to know, and it has to be his own money and his own initiation. Then he will, if he knows that he's helping someone to be better, maybe another sick person needs help, and he knows what it's like to be sick, and so if someone helps a sick person, that sick person can get better, then the person who helped the sick person will feel better that way. So you have to explain to him the benefit of dana and how to do it. It has to be his own money. It has to be from his own initiation. He has to be the one who wants to do it, not someone else telling him to do it.
Okay, another question is, we also have another relative who has passed away, and then during his lifetime, he deals with supernatural beings, make use of their power, and sometimes become the medium. So we wonder if there is any consequence upon death due to those actions, and what we can do for him.
Being a medium itself is not good or bad. It's how he used the medium. If he used the medium to help people, then it's good action. If he used the medium to hurt people, then it's bad action. So if there's no good or bad action, then he will not have any result from these actions. But if he did some good action, then he will reap the benefit of this good action. If he did bad action, then he will have to reap the benefit of the bad action. So this is just a law of karma.
Okay. And what about if the image of the deceased appear during meditation? What should we do?
If you want to use to your benefit, then you should compare this image to your body, to yourself. That in the future you will also be like this person. then you can get the benefit from this image. Remind yourself that death is part of your life, that eventually your body will have to die. So teach your mind to accept this reality. Once the mind accepts this, then it will not be scared or afraid of death. But if your mind is not strong enough to accept this yet, then you should just ignore it and come back to your object of meditation, either watching your breath or reciting Bhutto, Bhutto.
Does it mean the deceased come to visit?
It can mean anything, or doesn't mean anything. If you don't know, then you shouldn't worry about it. If you know that it's a disease, you can connect with that person. Then you know that it's just your ability to connect. That's all. It's just a special ability, psychic power, but it has no bearings on your well-being or your not being well. Your well-being or your bad being is because of your action. So when you meditate, you want your mind to be calm and empty. To be calm and empty, you should focus on your meditation object only. Don't be distracted by whatever appears in your mind. Just ignore them.
Okay. And then for sharing of the merits, if the deceased are not Buddhist or are not familiar with
doesn't
those,
matter.
doesn't
The
matter.
same thing. This is the natural law. It doesn't mean you have to be Buddhist or something. Yeah. The mind is mind, regardless of what religion the mind believes in.
Okay. And then what about the tradition of doing praying after the death of the relatives, like 7 days after the death or 49 days?
It's just a way of prolonging the separation from the death. You don't want to cremate the person that you love suddenly, so you keep them for 100 days. And during these 100 days, you take this opportunity to make merits for yourself and share it with the departed. That's all. It's just a tradition. Sometimes people don't want to lose someone, even though they already die. You don't want to burn the body, and you want to at least keep them for a few more days.
So it doesn't really matter if we don't do those.
No. The Buddha said, keep his body for 7 days. Let people pay respect to his body for 7 days. Then after that, cremate it. Luang Ta Mahabua said, just keep it 1 day. The body doesn't mean anything anymore. Once it's dead, it doesn't do anything. It's just a material thing. So whether you keep it or you don't keep it, there's no difference. The longer you keep it, then the more responsibility you have of looking after the dead body.
So same thing goes for the praying, the chanting that we do for.
Yeah, you should do it regardless of whether a person die or not die, because chanting is a method of meditation. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much.
So my first question is, I would just want to say my father now is in depression, and he takes a lot of my time and a lot of my energy. I want to know how I can stay with him, help him, but in the same time not let him take too much of my energy, because if I let him take too much of my energy, it's me follow as well.
Okay, you have to look at two parts, yourself and your son, right?
Father.
Yeah?
My father. My father is in depression. My father.
Father?
Yeah.
Oh, your father. Okay, there are two things you have to consider: yourself and your father. Your father, the state that he's in, how much can you help him? See, so you have to know how much you can do for him. And you cannot, if you expect more than what you can do, you can become frustrated. And how much you can do for him. your ability to do it. So you just have to know the right amount, of what you can do, and whether you can do it for him or not. You might have the ability, but he might not be able to accept your help. So you have to look at the person that you want to help. How much you can help him, and how much he can accept your help.
Actually, he just want me to help him all the time, So I have to stop sometime, because otherwise I will.
Okay, so you have to know how much you can do for him, and then just say, "This is how much you can do."
Or how I can say to him, stop to bother me, or stop to ask me more than I can do.
Well, you cannot really ask him to stop asking you, but you can stop giving him. Let him ask whatever he wants, but you just don't give him. Just tell him you don't have the time, you don't have the effort.
So, for example, when I stay in Thailand, he call me 3-4 times a day. So it means I have to say to him, I have not to answer the phone.
Why not? If you think there's nothing you can do for him, just don't answer the phone. Because what can you do for him? All he wants to do is somebody to talk to, because he might be lonely and he needs someone. But if you have the time to talk to him all the time, then if you can do it, it's good on your part and it's good for him, because you are sacrificing your time, you are being kind, being compassionate. So it's up to you how much you can give.
The second question I want to ask you, it's about myself, because since 2 months now, I'm very difficult for me to go to sleep. When I go to sleep, my mind starts to work very, very, very heavy. So, what's a good thing to do? Is it to wake up and to go meditate, or is it to try to sleep again, or what's the best way to do when we have this kind of insomnia?
Well, there are two causes. The basic causes is your attachment to things, or your desire to get things done, to get this and that, and it keeps you thinking about this thing even while you want to go to sleep. That's the first one. The second one is, once you cannot go to sleep, you want to sleep, and this desire will make it harder for you to go to sleep.
Exactly.
So you have to try to fix the first one, your desire for things, for your desire to get things done, to get this and that. You just have to say, you can only do so much, and if you cannot do it, then you just have to let go. Try to come back to the basic. Your life, you don't have to be rich to be happy. All you need to do is to be able to look after your body. If you have the basic necessity, I think you should be satisfied, and try to think of the other thing as bonuses. If you can have them, fine. If you don't have them, no big deal. If you can do this, then you can calm your mind down a lot. Then if you still cannot do this, and while you sleep and you keep thinking, and the more you want to go to sleep, the harder will it be for you to sleep. What you have to do is try not to think, and one way is to count sheep or recite a mantra. Keep counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you will forget about the things that you think about, you worry about, and this might be able to let you go to sleep. But in the same time, you must not want to go to sleep right away. Just tell yourself, if I go to sleep, fine. If I don't, I just keep counting or keep reciting a mantra. So long as I don't go back to think about the things that keep me up, eventually I will fall asleep.
Is it better to do like this when I in the bed, or to wake up and to go sit somewhere?
It's up to you. If you feel that you can get up and meditate and then calm your mind, when your mind becomes calm, then you can go lay down, go to sleep. Or you can do it while you lay down, so that when your mind becomes calm, you fall asleep right away. Because you don't expect meditation result. What you want is to go to sleep. So all you have to do is somehow stop your mind from thinking by reciting a mantra or counting sheep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep on counting. Then when you forget about what you worry about, or you have some attachment to, then your mind will then forget, and then your mind will then go to sleep that way. What keeps you awake is your thought. And if you can stop thinking, then you will go to sleep.
But actually, I'm sure I'm worried to cannot sleep. Worry make me worry to not sleep.
I know. You should accept it now. Accept that right now I cannot go to sleep. So let it be. But eventually it's gonna have to go to sleep, because the body eventually, when it gets real tired, it will fall asleep by itself. But don't have any desire to fall asleep. This will create more agitation and restlessness. So keep chanting, or keep reciting a mantra, or keep counting sheep. Then eventually you will go to sleep.
Okay. And yes, I want to ask you, how long we have to sleep per night? Is it 5 hours, 4 hours? I heard some monk don't sleep, or they sleep very few hours. And in Europe, we say we have to sleep 8 hours, 7 hours. So how long we have to sleep?
Well, it differs from different individual. It depends on the amount of work you do. If you do a lot of physical work, you need longer time to sleep, to rest and recuperate your body. But if you're a monk, you meditator, you hardly use any physical work, so you could sleep less. Buddha said monk should sleep only 4 hours a night, from about 10 to 2 or 11 to 3. But with lay people, since you have to work, use a lot of physical, energy, you need to replenish it. So just how you feel, just look at that way. Just let the body tell you when you fall asleep, and when it hasn't got up, then let it sleep until it wakes up by itself. Once it wakes up, don't continue on. You have to get up, because if you continue on, it's not your body that needs it. It's your defilement, your mind. So you can tell how much the body needs, because when the body needs to sleep, you'll fall asleep right away. And when you wake up, the body is refreshed and it doesn't need any more sleep. But if you're lazy, if you want to enjoy sleeping, then you might continue on. This you should not do.
The last question I have to say. I want to ask you also, my parents now are getting old, and we plan with my family to come back to live in Thailand. And I want to know if it's if I leave my father and my mother in France, is it a bad action?
If they can look after themselves, then it's okay. But if they don't have anybody to look after, then your duty as a son to look after your father and mother. Or if you cannot do it yourself, if you somehow can hire someone to do it for you, you hire a nurse or a maid or somebody to look after them, then you still consider that you are doing your duty. Okay. As long as you should not leave them without any support. If they need support, if they need your support, you have to give them. But if they can support themselves, then you don't need to support them. As far as emotional, you cannot help them because emotional is a difficult support. They should learn to find their own support, like doing some meditation or find some hobby to do, so that they don't have to rely on other people for their emotional support. Because we all have our own life to live. But physically, you have to help them. If their physical needs and they cannot provide for themselves, then if you can help them, you should. But if you cannot, then you just say, what can you do?
So it means if I keep them in the good place and I'm sure they are well, is it enough? Even if I come back to Thailand.
And if you can connect. Right now, you can call on video conference and talk to them, from time to time, asking them how they're doing. Do it on a regular basis.
Okay, thank you very much. And tomorrow I will ask you some other question from people from internet. I have many questions. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead.
So the first question, it's how to overcome fear and anxiety.
There's these two methods that you can overcome: temporary method or permanent method. Temporary method is to use mindfulness to pull your mind away from thinking about things that make you afraid. Like if you're afraid of death, you can stop it by using a mantra. Instead of thinking about that, let it think about Bhutto, Bhutto, Bhutto. If you can persist in keeping the mind to just recite Bhutto, 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 eventually the mind will forget about death temporarily. But if you stop Bhutto, Bhutto and you start thinking again, you might think about death again. Then you'll become afraid again. So this is a temporary measure. Like if you go to stay in some place which you feel there is some danger and you cannot feel easy or safe, you can recite a mantra or you can chant the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha quality. If you keep just concentrating on chanting or reciting a mantra, you'll forget about the thing that makes you afraid. Then your mind can become calm and peaceful, and you will not be afraid for a while until after your mind starts to think again. Then you can become afraid again. The second method is to use insight contemplation. Insight is the truth of our life, our body. Our body is impermanent. It's subjected to aging, sickness, and death. So eventually you're going to have to die, regardless of where you are. But if you're willing to die, you will not be afraid. If you are not willing to die, then you will be afraid. Because the reason why you are afraid, because you want to live. And when you know that you might die, you will become afraid. And the cause of your desire is the one that makes you afraid and unhappy. If you can stop this desire not to die, and use the truth, use the insight, contemplation that this body eventually is gonna die. And we don't know when it's gonna die. It can die today, tomorrow, 10 years from now. But right now, if we are in the situation in which we might have to die, if we accept death, then we will not be afraid. The mind will stop resisting, stop creating the desire not to die. When you can stop this desire not to die by insisting on the truth, then the mind will not resist death, will not resist the truth. Then the mind will accept, embrace the truth. Once it does that, the fear and the suffering that arise from the fear will subside, will disappear. And from that time onward, you will never be afraid again, because you have already accepted death. So you're ready to go anytime.
So it means if we have any problem, if we accept it,
right, then
it's gone.
Then your suffering will be gone. The suffering arises from your resistance, your desire to get what you want. And if you cannot get what you want, then you become frustrated and stressed.
The second question, The second question is, we always see the Buddha with a smiling face. Why we see always the Buddha with a smiling face? Is it the meaning of that?
Well, he's happy. You smile because you're happy. And the Buddha experienced the highest form of happiness. Nibbanang paramang sukhang. The happiness arises from Nibbana, is the supreme bliss. So in the heart of the Buddha, he's always happy. So it radiates through his body, to his physical appearance. Yeah.
Another question, is it fair to say that the purpose of practice of Buddhism is to be equanimous in whatever happens, good or bad?
That's right, that's the goal, is to let go of everything, good or bad, not to be attached to them. Because once you are attached, you can cause your mind to become anxious or afraid. It depends on what you come into contact with. If you're in contact with the good thing, you're anxious that it might leave you, then you might lose it. If you come afraid with something is bad for you, you become afraid. But if you can tame your mind to remain neutral, not to react either way, then your mind will be peaceful and calm under every situation. Equanimity arises from the practice of samadhi, and also the application of insight. You can use either one.
So this person asks, can I mix different technique in my meditation? For example, can I start by say Buddho Buddho and after watch my breathing and after watch the rising and the falling of my abdomen in the same meditation period?
Well, you should try to stick to one type of meditation. If you're watching your breath, you should not switch to something else, unless there are things that force you to switch. Like for instance, when you first started, you keep watching your breath, and then after a while your body starts to show pain, and you cannot focus on your breath. Then you might have to use a mantra instead to keep your mind focused again. If you are forced to do by the situation, you can switch, but don't switch just simply because you want to switch. Sometimes when you first started, your mind can be still active. It cannot focus on your breath. So you might need to do some chanting first, or use some mantra to calm your mind, to stop your mind from thinking about other things. Once your mind becomes calmer and you find that you can focus on your breath, then you can switch to your breath again. But just don't switch just because you feel you want to switch. Yeah. Should have a reason for switching. then it's okay.
And the last one for today, can Tanajan tell us a way to meditate from the start to enlightenment?
Well, the first thing before you can meditate, you have to develop mindfulness first. You have to be able to control your thought most of the time. From the time you get up, when you open up your eyes, you normally will start thinking, what is today, what am I going to do? And then your thoughts keep rolling out. So you want to stop that by using a mantra, or asking your mind to watch your body. Where am I? What is my body doing now? My body is lying down. Okay, my body is getting up, sitting. My body is standing. My body is walking. Just keep your mind with your action. If it doesn't want to stay with the body, then you have to have a mantra. If you start to think aimlessly, then you should stop it by reciting Bhutto, Bhutto, Bhutto in order to control your thoughts. But you are allowed to think of things that you have to think. Like maybe you have to do some planning for today. What am I going to do today? Then you can think that. But once you finish with your planning, then you should stop. When you're getting yourself ready to go to do whatever you have to do, during that time you shouldn't be thinking. You should focus on what you do. If you're brushing your teeth, just keep brushing your teeth. If you're taking a shower, just stay with the body action. If it doesn't want to stay, then you have to use a mantra to bring it. Use a mantra, Bhutto, Bhutto, to stop it from thinking about the future or the past. This is what we call developing mindfulness, the ability to control your thoughts. If you can control your thoughts, then when you meditate, then you can control it to stay focused on one object, such as the breath. If you can stay focused on your breath alone, eventually your mind will enter into jhana, into calm, and you will experience bliss and happiness. All right? But the most important thing is mindfulness. You shouldn't just start sitting, meditate without having. If you cannot control your thought, when you sit, instead of focusing on your breath, you might be thinking about this and that. So you will never achieve any result from sitting.
And after samadhi, so we have to use vipassana.
Vipassana is the next stage, which is a long way. First try to get mindfulness, then try to get samadhi. For some people it might take years before they can get the samadhi. So don't worry about vipassana. But you can do it if you're not sitting in samadhi, if you're not controlling your thoughts. If you can control your thoughts to think of vipassana, you can do that also. But it will still not be effective. Vipassana is to teach your mind the truth about everything, that everything is impermanent, like your money, your family, your houses, your job, everything is impermanent. Sooner or later, it's gonna end somehow, whether end in death or end before you die. Yeah. So you have to teach your mind to be prepared for these things. If you are ready, if you can accept it, then when it happens, it will not cause you any sadness. But if you're not prepared, when it happens, it can cause you a lot of sadness, to the point where you might want to kill yourself, because you don't know what to do without your money, without your job, without your family. Yeah. But if you think ahead of time and teach your mind that maybe this thing can happen, and you should learn how to live by yourself. And if you know how to meditate, then you can live by yourself without having to have anything. Yeah. But usually not to worry about vipassana. First try to stop your thought first. Because vipassana, you have to use your thought. And if you use your thought, sometimes you might vipassana for a few minutes, then the next thing you might start to got to daydreaming, think about defilement, think about the opposite of vipassana. So it's better to be able to control your thought first before you can go into the vipassana.
So first is sati,
Yeah.
after samadhi, after vipassana.
Yeah, yeah.
So, okay, thank you.
Okay.
I was trying to hide, but you saw me.
You're not small to hide. Okay, go ahead.
Can you please explain to me exactly what patience is and how can I continue to cultivate this in my working, living, and daily life? Mindfulness is one thing, and I understand it, but patience.
Well, patience is the result of having mindfulness. See, patience in Buddhism means not to react to any situations or circumstances, just to be aware of what's happening. Be aware when someone says good or bad things to you, but don't react. If you don't react, then you have patience. Just remain still, not reacting. And you can only not react by having strong mindfulness. When you have strong mindfulness, when you start to react, your mindfulness can stop it right away.
Thank you. I understand this, but I am a kindergarten teacher. So when I mean patience in regards to, I have 15 children that are running around and I have to calm them all and get them on track, and I'm losing my patience how to not
That's
react.
because you are emotional. See, if you react rationally, it will not hurt you. The reason is you want to control them, and you know you cannot. The truth is you cannot control them, so you have to accept the truth that you can only do so much, control them at a certain level. But you probably, like you said before, you want to be you are a perfectionist. You want to control 15 children. You need 15 teachers to control 15 children. If you're 1 against 15, you can only do so much. So just accept how much you can do. Then you will not be frustrated or emotional. Think rationally. I mean, you have to react, but react rationally is okay. Rationality doesn't hurt the mind. What hurts the mind is emotional. When you become emotional, and your emotional arise from your desire to conquer, to vanquish, to suppress, to get things under the control. But according to the Buddha, everything is not under control. You forget this fact. Nothing is under control. They might be under control at some time, but not all the time. So when you reach the time when you cannot control, then you have to let go. Then you will not be frustrated or upset. You just say, c'est la vie, that's life, right? And you can do this if you have mindfulness. Because if you don't have mindfulness, your emotional will take over right away. But if you have mindfulness, when you feel to be emotional, you can stop it. You say, I'm being emotional, I have to backtrack. I have to come back to rationality.
And that would be true in arguments with, let's say...
Everything.
Okay, my spouse, my employer...
Yeah, everything.
Everything and everyone. If I'm mindful and that frustration or lack of patience arises, if I'm stronger in practicing my mindfulness...
Yeah, you can stop your desire to conquer, to win, to convince, or whatever. And you look at the fact, whether you can do it or not. If you can do it, do it. If you cannot, then just let it be.
Thank you.
All right? It's clear enough to you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So the first question, do I have to read and listen Dhamma talk every day?
If you can, and if it gives you the information you need, then you should. Because Dhamma has many different aspects that you have to learn. But you don't have to study the whole day, maybe 1 hour a day, just enough to refresh your memory, refresh your understanding of the Dhamma practice. Then you don't have to know everything that's being taught in the Dhamma. You should just concentrate on what you have to do, like charity, morality, and meditation, and learn about how to do this thing properly, when and how to do it, why you have to do it.
So, second question, this guy asked, sometimes I doubt of the teaching of the Buddha, or I doubt of my teacher. How can I manage to not doubt anymore?
Doubt.
Doubt, yeah, sorry.
Well, you can get rid of your doubt by studying more, because you still haven't covered enough of the teaching to properly understand. Doubt because it arises from the lack of information. And then the next step to you can get rid of your doubt entirely is from your practice. By studying, by talking to an enlightened person can help get rid of your doubt. But if you study by yourself, reading from books, or studying from an unenlightened teacher, you might not get rid of your doubt, because sometimes it takes someone who is really enlightened to explain to you all the things that you are doubtful about.
So the second question is how to be sure your teacher is an enlightened person.
Well, you just have to look for one. It's like looking for diamond. There are some diamonds somewhere, and you need to go look for it. With the way you look for it, you start asking people about, do you know any good teacher? And then they say this and that teacher. Then you ask more people to see if you get the same information. And then if you think that this is the good teacher that you're looking for, the next step is you have to go and meet him, listen to his teaching, and then see if it can help you. Then you might be able to get rid of your doubt. If he's not the right teacher, then you have to look for someone else.
The same person asked, now is so many master and so many technique of meditation, I don't know which one to practice.
This is the same question there was the man who asked the Buddha before he passed away. The Buddha was in his final stages of death. And he was lying in his bed, and this man came and asked the Venerable Ananda, the caretaker of the Buddha, for permission to go and ask the Buddha question. And the caretaker, Ananda, said, no, this is not the right time. He's about to die now. Don't disturb him. The Buddha heard the conversation and he told Ananda, let him come in. So the Buddha allowed this man to go ask. He's the last man to ask question from the Buddha. And he asked exactly the same question that just asked. He said, there are so many teachers teaching so many different teaching. How can I be sure which one is the right teaching? And the Buddha was very smart to reply. He didn't say, my teaching is the right one. He just said, any teaching that contains the Noble Eightfold Path, that is the right teaching. So if anybody teach the Noble Eightfold Path, Sammaทิฏฐิ, right view, Samma Sankappa, right thought, right action, right speech, right livelihood, right exertion, right mindfulness, and right samadhi, then this is the right teaching that will lead you to the end of the cessation of all forms of suffering. That's what the Buddha replied. So look for the Noble Eightfold Path. But the Noble Eightfold Path comes in many different guise, different shape and form. Sometimes it comes in the form of charity, morality, and meditation. This is also the Noble Eightfold Path. plus charity. Sometimes it comes in the form of morality, samadhi, and panya. This is also a noble eightfold path. So you have to understand that they are the same thing. Sometimes it's been expanded, sometimes it's just been contracted to shorten it.
And also, I think maybe sometimes some people they like to use more like a Theravada style of Buddhism. Some is a Zen, some is Tibetan. It depends on the person.
That's up to each individual.
Yes.
Buddhism is like a restaurant. Like restaurants, there are many different cooks, and each cook or chef prepare the food differently, but they from the same ingredient. They have meat, vegetables, and they have salt and peppers. The same way with Buddhism, the teaching of the Buddha, when taught by each different teacher, have different technique, different style, but they still contain the same ingredient, the Noble Eightfold Path.
So the last question for today. It is better to do one long meditation for 1 hour or to do many small meditation during the day?
Well, it doesn't matter. The point is to do as much as possible. Little or big, it's up to your ability. If you can only sit briefly, then you should sit briefly first. When you stop sitting, you can continue by walking. So you don't have to meditate by sitting. You don't have to. You can continue on with your mindfulness. You get up and walk, and then you maintain mindfulness. Keep controlling your thoughts, stopping your thoughts. And after you walk until you feel tired, then you can come back and sit and watch your breath again. So the more you do, the further you will get on your path. So it's not how big or how small you do it. It's up to your ability. Sometimes you can do big one, sometimes you cannot, so you do a small one. But the point is to keep on doing. Right exertion is to exert as much as possible until you can exert maximum 100%. But you cannot start at 100%. So you start at 10%, then you move up to 20, 30, and 40. Eventually you will be practicing all day long, from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep. That's when you can become enlightened. You have to practice all the time, because your enemy, your desire, they work all the time. They don't stop working. And if you want to get rid of them, you have to get rid of them all the time. Okay?
Thank you.
You have any question? Yeah. No question today. Later on, okay. You gentlemen over there, do you have anything to ask or to say? Okay, so we have many nationality today. One American, one French, one German,
and one English.
One English. Oh, you're English. I'm sorry, not American.
After listening to your talks, I start to give a lot more priority to mindfulness. But my feeling is sometimes it can make me forget easily. Is that?
That's not the case. No. I don't think mindfulness causes the loss of memory, no. In fact, it will enhance your memory. Because if you're mindful, you know what you do, then you don't forget. You forget because you have no mindfulness. Sometimes you did something and you think about something else. Then the next thing you thought, did I do that already or not? That's because you didn't have mindfulness already.
Right.
You might think that by not having memory, it might be because you stop thinking temporarily.
Yeah.
That's the case then, because when you have mindfulness, you don't think or you don't memorize, you don't recall. You stop the mental activity, but this is only temporarily. Anytime you want to recall, you can then start recalling anytime you want.
Okay. Yes.
But just if you are mindful, you stop thinking, you stop recalling, you stop going to the past or going to the future. You keep your mind in the present, to what's happening right now, here and now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Another question, if it's okay. What do most people experience when they stay all night in the forest alone for the first time?
It differs from individual to individual. Some person, if they haven't tried it, sometimes they couldn't stay until about 7 or 8 o'clock and they ran away. They couldn't stand the fear that arises from their mind. Some people stay on, some people. So it differs from individual to individual. So it depends on your background, how much mindfulness you already have. If you have enough mindfulness, when you start to be afraid, you can use your mindfulness to stop. But if you cannot stop your fear, then you feel that you cannot remain here, and sometimes you either go back right away, or maybe wait until tomorrow, and then ask. Some people ask to come and stay for 1 week, and they only stay for 1 night. Some people ask to staying, and they didn't even stay for the night. So it differs from individual to individual.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. You want to ask question? Go ahead.
South Africa.
Yes, South America.
I'm sorry, I thought you were Thai.
America, Thai, yes, yes.
Did you understand Thai at all?
Need nói.
Oh, need nói, okay.
Thank you. It was nice. It's nice meeting you, first of all. I'm here now for almost 1.5 years. And sooner or later, I will have to go back to possibly the Netherlands, where I lived most of my life. I'm too old to get into the system for working for the established thinking. I'm too old. I'm looking for an opportunity to coach maybe young people or the elderly in the direction of meditation. Don't get me wrong, I'm not doing it with ego, but I have the feeling I can reach people, and I'm practicing. All the time I was here, I was more or less practicing, sometimes not. But my heart is with meditation. I'm not the best practitioner, but this is, I think, my Dhamma, my Dharma. So, but I only need the direction and the vision of someone like you to tell me if I'm betting on the right horse or not. So I hope my question is clear.
Well, if you look at the example of the Buddha, his first priority is teaching himself first.
Yes, of course.
Until he became fully enlightened, until he had finished his job. Once he has finished his job, then he started helping other people. So this is usually the priority in Buddhism. The Buddha says, help yourself first before helping other people. But if you think that you are happy with yourself and you don't need to help yourself anymore, you have spare time, you want to help other people, you can do that. But this will stop your progress to the full path, to the final destination, if you haven't reached it yet. Because as soon as you start doing this, helping other people, you'll lose the time and effort that you need to spend to send yourself to the final destination.
I understand. It's more the willingness to organize things and to have the contact with the teachers here who maybe want to visit. It's in that direction. Because I have much more years to cross for the pension system in Holland, and till then I have to look for opportunity. This is the main question.
Okay.
And, yeah.
I hope I answered the question you asked.
Once more?
I hope I answered your question.
Yes. You have. Okay.
Okay. If you still have to do whatever you have to do, then you have to do it.
Yeah. But it's not for this life to be fully...
Yeah. You take the bodhisattva path to help others before helping yourself. You have to develop compassion first before you can then relinquish and go live in isolation and help yourself. So it might take a long time.
Yes, that's what I mean.
But if you follow the Buddha's path right now, you might finish it in 7 days, 7 years, or 7 months.
Yeah.
It's your choice to make.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You have any questions? Okay.
Hello, Ajahn. I have a question. I met a monk who go to Germany, have a monastery in Germany. He is a senior monk, and I went to his place, and he asked me if I'm willing to go to Germany, and I said yes, because I had a feeling I want to go back. And he basically said I can help that place. First of all, there is another monk to help, maybe to translate and all these things. And also, as far as I understood, to teach. Now, when the gentleman said that to you, I'm not a teacher, you know, I feel very baby in Dhamma. And what can I do? I don't want to teach. I want to help, but not to teach. What can you advise me to do?
Well, if you can help, but you cannot teach, then you cannot help. Because the best form of help is Dhamma, teaching.
I feel insecure. I know my kilesa.
I know. So if you follow the Buddha, then you should just get rid of your kilesa first before you go and teach people how to get rid of the kilesa.
That's what I want. But the problem is, if I stay in Thailand, I cannot continue. I had a lot of obstacles, and this is a place where I can stay as a nun.
Well, it's up to you. It doesn't matter where you are. What matters is whether you practice or not. If you go back to Germany, if you could practice, then that's fine. But if you go back and then you have to do other work and not practicing, then you are losing your precious time. Because there's nothing more precious than practicing the Dhamma to realize the goal of the Dhamma. Because it's very rare for us to be born as a human being and to come across the teaching of the Buddha. This time maybe just 1 in a million chance that happens. So after we die, the next time we return as a human, there might not be a Buddha's teaching in this world. Then we won't have anybody to teach us, to guide us. And all you can rely on is what you have developed so far in your mind. So it's a toss-up. You have to decide which is more important.
The most important for me is to have the place, and I could not find any, and this is the only opportunity, but with that little...
I understand. So if you think you can go back, you must then maybe divide your time up, half for yourself and half for helping other people. But it's still not as good as being able to stay in a place where you can have all the time for yourself.
Could not find it.
Yeah.
As a female, it's very difficult.
Yes. And it's also, sometimes you have the time, but you still don't make use of your time fully. Instead of practicing, sometimes you run around doing some other things, because your defilement is so strong, and it will keep irritate you if you remain not doing anything.
That's what I was thinking. If I go to that place, there is this, sounds a little bit silly, but the security and the peace, because I don't have to look for visa, I don't have to look for other things. It's like being a Thai person in Thailand.
Yes.
And I was thinking, if I go there, I have this, my mind calms down, because I can feel it's not strong enough to deal with the obstacles who come in Thailand, or in Burma, or because I'm a Falang. So that's what I was thinking, but the only, yeah.
Yes, you just have to manage your time, divide your time up, try to get as much time for yourself as possible, and do only what is absolutely necessary for other people. To pay for your food and your rent, you have to do something in return. But just do just that, and then try to have time for yourself each day, at least in the evening, during the night. You shouldn't overdo your work helping other people. Just do it during the day, and then in the evening, then you can have time for your own practice. And you have to force yourself, because normally you don't want to practice, because you have excuse. By the time you get to the evening, say, I'm tired, I work so much, work so hard. This is all excuses. Or maybe it's true, because sometimes you work and you can become tired.
Right now it's an excuse. The kilesa come up, I know. That's why I talk to you now.
Yeah, I know. I can understand your predicament. Living in a foreign country and having visa problem. And being a woman is also twice as difficult as men, because Buddhism is not designed for women, let's put it that way. It's not segregation or discrimination, but it's just the nature of people. Men and women are different, And to practice Buddhism, you need to be in the wild, you have to be isolated. And that's not good or safe for women to be alone.
But in Buddha's time, many women become arahant.
Yeah, but they have guidance, they have teachers, and they have monasteries. They didn't go live alone in the wild. So if you can find a monastery or a teacher who can lead you, guide you, and support your practice, then that's the best choice.
That is actually what I'm
looking for.
I have now. I mean, they are from the Ajahn Man tradition.
Good.
Ajahn Lee.
Ajahn Lee.
He was his teacher, and he's very senior. And I have a very good feeling. I'm only doubting myself. You see what I mean? Because I feel not in the Dhamma enough to teach others or to share it. I know a little bit, but not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. It's superficial.
Yeah. It's not haven't hit the point yet.
You can teach people how to walk meditation, sit meditation, how to develop mindfulness. But if there's any difficulty arise from the practice, you might not be able to give the proper answer.
I can send them to you.
Yeah, tell them to come. I'm here on YouTube and Facebook every day, and they can always send in the question anytime while we're on live broadcast.
I mean, there is also a good monk there, so it's
Okay, so first you need a good place to practice, where you have no problem with staying a long time. Second, you have to be disciplined. If you have someone to discipline you like a teacher, then you have to be your own teacher. You have to discipline yourself. You have to set up a certain time that you have to do the practice as much as possible.
In the past I was very disciplined, but because I gave in because the outside difficulties were so stronger and stronger and stronger. That's why I want to go back. And I could feel my trust in myself, trust in the Sangha, and worldly Sangha and things like that crashed.
Yeah, that's because your development inside is waning, it's not rising. So when your mental strength becomes weakened, then you feel that you cannot face all these external difficulties. So it's really blame on yourself for not maintaining the level of practice that you used to have.
I didn't know that I have to be Cassius Clay to start that way. Yeah.
Okay.
It's sometimes not easy. Yeah. Thank you.
Any more questions? Do you have any more questions? Anyone? Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So the first question I have, it's about what you say today in your talk. I want to know, when we fix our body on the movement, can we reciting, for example, in our mind, if I hear something, hearing. If I walk, I say walking, walking. If I sit, sitting, so on like this.
Yeah,
Can
okay.
It's fine to do this also?
As long as you don't get distracted by what you hearing is, you don't pay attention to what you hear.
Yeah. Just to focus when I hear something.
Yes,
whatever.
just focus your mind on your body.
Okay. And a second question, also you say, I mean, in meditation, if we think about something, when we put our mind on breathing and our mind go to think about something, do we have to go back straight away to our breathing, or?
Yes, right away. Don't let your mind go away from
we
your
don't
breath.
have to see, I think of something like this, I come back. No, straight away.
You want to cut off every thinking.
Okay. Okay, so now is a question about the people on Facebook. Can you explain us the difference between samatha and vipassana?
Samatha is meditation for calm, to stop the mind from thinking, to make the mind still. When the mind becomes still, you become happy. That's the first stage of meditation. Once you have mastered this stage, then you want to move up to the second stage, which we call vipassana. Vipassana is to protect the calm that you have achieved from samatha. See, normally if you don't have vipassana, after you withdraw from samadhi, your mind start to think and start to desire, start to crave. Then all the peace that you gain from samatha will disappear. So if you want to preserve this peace of mind that you have acquired from samatha, when you come out of meditation, you have to use vipassana, which is seeing the truth, seeing things as they are, as not what you think. Normally we think opposite of what they are. We think that everything that we want is good, is permanent, will belong to us when we get it. But the truth is the opposite. It's bad because it's not going to last, and it will not belong to you all the time. When this happens, instead of being happy, you will become sad. So this is what we call vipassana. You want to teach the mind the truth about the things that you desire or crave for, that they are not good for you. They can hurt you eventually. So it's better not to desire for anything. If you see the truth, then you don't want to have anything. You rather come back and meditate and happiness by calming the mind. So if you can do this with every forms of desire or craving, eventually there will be no craving left in your mind. Then there will be nothing to destroy the peace that you have achieved from samatha. Then you have a permanent peace we call nibbana.
The second question, what is the antidote of sexual desire and anger?
Well, antidote for sexual desire is the perception of the body as not being good looking. Look at the body in the negative side. Look at the body, look at the part that is not attractive. We call asubha contemplation. Like the body can appear in many forms. When the body is living, it's good looking. But when the body dies, it doesn't look good anymore. So if every time you have sexual desire, if you can think of that body turning into a corpse, then you say, it's not so attractive anymore. Or if you can look inside under the skin, because under the skin there are still many parts of the body that you haven't seen or you don't see. such as the skeleton. If you look at the face of someone, think of what is under the face, under the skin. You see the skull, right? Yeah. You have to look at the unattractive part of the body. Inside, beside the skull, the skeleton, there is the organs, heart, lungs, intestine, liver, kidney, and all the stuff that not desirable, like the feces that you will have to excrete. These are the things that you have to contemplate. But it's hard to do with a mind that is not calm. Because when your mind is not calm, your mind is being influenced by your sexual desire. And your sexual desire will only want to look at the attractive parts of the body. So before you can contemplate asubha, usually you have to have a certain amount level of calm. That's why you need samatha, bhavana, before you can go into vipassana, bhavana. The contemplation of asubha is the vipassana level, in order to get rid of the sexual craving, sexual desire. So this is what you have to do. So to really be effective with the vipassana, you first have to have samatha. You first need to have samadhi first. If not, your mind will not want to contemplate on the asubha. And when you have sexual desire, you will have no antidote, because it's not in your mind. So if you keep contemplating on asubha, on the unattractive parts of the body, continually, it's like memorizing. It will commit this picture in your mind. So anytime you have sexual desire, you can bring this picture up front. When this picture of the unattractive parts of the body appears, then your sexual desire will dissolve right away. So this is the antidote for sexual desire. For anger, there are different methods. The what we call the temporary method is to forgive. If somebody say anything, do anything, just forgive them. Just don't get angry or don't get mad at them. Say things already happened. You cannot stop them from doing or saying anything, the thing that they say or do. So if you can forgive, then your anger will disappear. But this will not solve the problem. Next time somebody says something, do something, you can get angry again. If you want to get rid of it permanently, you have to get rid the root cause of anger. And the root cause of your anger comes from your desire or your craving. When you have any desire or craving for someone to do something for you, and when they don't do it, you get angry. But if you don't have any desire for someone to do something for you, you don't get angry. Or you have desire for someone to be something, to behave in a certain way, and when they don't, you get angry. So you have to cut your desire toward other people and things. Then you will not get angry at them, because you don't expect anything from them, see. Okay? Makes sense to you?
Makes sense, but hard work, huh?
All right. Okay, next question.
Okay, so another question from this guy. He asks you, what do you find difficult to training the new monk?
I don't train them. I just tell them what to do. It's up to them. I'm not a trainer. I'm just a tutor. I just tell people, if they ask me, they need help, I can only tell them what to do, but I don't train. I only provide a location, environment that will help in their training, like a quiet environment. For monks, they need a quiet environment to develop.
But if they meet any problem, they can talk to you and ask you how to solve their problem.
Right. If they have, you need you don't speak too close, because there's no No thing to the wind that affects you. Okay. So
I mean,
if they have question, they can come and ask me. Okay. They usually listen to this Dhamma talk also. Nowadays, everyone has a smartphone, so they can follow the talk, and so they usually don't need to ask me because they already know what they have to do. What they need is to do it. That's all.
So this guy also asked if he want to become a monk, can he come here directly and be a monk here?
Not here, because here the person who ordained monks, he doesn't speak English, and so he doesn't want to ordain any foreigners. But you can go to international monastery in Thailand. There's an international monastery where all the Westerners go to ordain, and there are a few other monasteries that will ordain Westerners, like Ajahn Tan, Ajahn Anand in Rayong. So you have to look around, but not here. Here I can only give you the teaching, but I cannot provide you the ordination.
Okay. The last question for today. Can you explain what
not
is...
Not too close, not too close.
Can you explain?
Closer, halfway.
Can you explain?
Yeah, okay.
Can you explain what is karma?
Karma. Yeah. Karma means action. What you do, what you say, what you think, these are the three actions. And this action can be good or bad. If it's good action, it will bring you happiness. If it's bad action, it will bring you sadness or bad feelings. What is good feeling? When you help other people, this is called good action, good karma. Whatever you do that benefit other people, make people happy, other people happy, you are doing good karma. And when you do that, your mind will feel happy with that action. The opposite, when you do bad karma, is when you hurt other people. When you hurt other people, then you feel bad. So this is what karma is, good or bad karma. And they are the one, this karma will have influence on your mind, which eventually, when there is no body, the mind will turn into a spiritual being. And this spiritual being can be good spiritual being or bad spiritual being, depend on the good or bad karma that you did while you were a human being. A good spiritual being we usually call angels. Bad spiritual being we usually call devils.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Is that all?
Yes.
How about you? Yeah, anything to ask?
Not really.
Okay, you don't have to. You don't have to. Okay. How about you? Okay, wait for the microphone. Yeah. This microphone boosts the sponge that covers. So we speak close, the air can...
I try to do it.
Okay.
It's okay like this?
Yeah, okay.
You said about karma. So is it also when I have in this life some good luck or bad luck? Is it also the action of karma or...
Not always. There are many other factors that cause you to be happy or sad. Sometimes accidental. You walk and you slip,
So this is not because many people say that is your bad karma when you have things like that.
No.
Yeah.
There are many other things that is not karma. You're involved in an accident, for instance. It's not karma.
Not karma.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the myth go around. This is the karmic. They call it right now in America some karma comes.
Some people have this theory that whatever happens all happened because of your karma.
Exactly.
Which, if you want to speak in general terms, yes, because whatever you do is karma already. See, if you sleep because you walk, if you don't walk, you don't sleep. That's karma already. Karma means action.
Yes.
So I mean, whatever you do is all karma.
Some people say it's the collective karma. For example, when
something happened together.
Yes.
Yeah. You just happen to be there at the same time, that's all.
So this had nothing to do with some
the
karma?
past, not the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other factors are the nature and...
Yeah, nature, natural causes.
Natural causes.
Yeah,
No?
the body, whether you have good or bad karma, it's gonna get old, get sick and die. The Buddha's body die, get old, get sick, just like you and my body.
Exactly. I just want to point out the specific, because people also say because you have this sickness, it's your karma and things like that.
Sometimes you have more sickness than normal, then it's your past karma.
Past karma, yeah.
Or you are born not equipped with all the 32 parts. This could be your bad karma in the past also. Or maybe it's just biological problem. So there are many factors.
Yes.
So not to worry about.
Yes.
But the Buddha said it's very difficult to study and to analyze karma in its entirety. So just know just the general form of karma. Simply, whatever you do good, you feel good. If you do bad, you feel bad. And whatever happens to you, good or bad, sometimes they are the result of your good karma and bad karma. Sometimes they are not. You know. Okay.
Okay, so I have one question today. This morning I do anapanasati for 1 hour. After that, my mind starts to think about Dhamma, only Dhamma, what you're teaching and other Dhamma. So in this case, what I have to do I have to come back to anapanasati, or can I let my mind think about Dhamma?
It depends on what you want. If you want calm, you want the mind to be still, then you should not think. You should stop by focusing on your breath. Because both are important, but being calm and still is the first step that you should master. So if you haven't yet mastered this first step, you should not worry about the second step, which is thinking about Dhamma. The first step is to be able to stop your mind. Because if you cannot stop your mind, when you think of the Dhamma, you cannot apply it to your mind. Because the Dhamma is to teach the mind to stop. But if you don't have the ability to stop, then it's no use to have the Dhamma to teach you. The Dhamma teach you why you should stop, because everything that you do hurts you more than helps you. But you don't see it, that's all. So you have to learn how to stop your mind. Once you know how to stop, then you will then study the Dhamma to find out why you have to stop. Because stopping is better. Stopping is better than not stopping.
How I will know when the time is it's good for me to think about Dhamma, or I mean not to think, but to
you have
to
to
let my
be able
mind
to stop your mind when you start to go thinking in the way that you shouldn't be thinking. You should know that it's like driving a car. You have to know that when the car starts to go out the road, and you can bring it back, then you can in control of your car. Once you can in control of your mind, then you can then go think about the Dhamma. But if you still cannot control your mind, sometimes you still get angry, sometimes you still get restless and agitated, sometimes you still worry about this and that, then you have to stop this thing first.
When you say control the mind, it means all the time or sometime?
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Eventually all the time. But you have to be able to, whenever you need to be calm, you should be able to enter it anytime you want. Because this is a place this is your sanctuary, away from your stress and problems. Sometimes you cannot solve your problem. At least you can hide away, get away from your problem first. So if you cannot, then you shouldn't go the way of the Dhamma yet. Try to be able to bring your mind into calm anytime you need it. Once you know that you can do that, then you can then go and study the Dhamma to find out the reason why you should let go of everything. To see that everything is impermanent. If you cling to them, when they change, it can make you unhappy, it can make you sad. But if you don't cling to them, then when they change or when they disappear, they cannot make you unhappy or sad. So you have to know, to be able to detach from everything. And if you can calm your mind, then you can detach. Because calming your mind is the way of detaching yourself from everything.
So now I have one question from Facebook. Sometimes I feel since I meditate, I have more suffer in my mind. Why is like that?
Because your mind is still being influenced by your defilement. And your defilement is opposing your meditation. Your defilement don't want your mind to become still. So it reacts by creating this suffering in your mind. So you have to be patient, endure, and ignore this opposition. Try to focus on your mindfulness. Try to focus on your meditation object. And disregard this bad feeling that arises while you're trying to meditate. This is natural for everyone. This is the hindrance. This is the thing that blocks people from succeeding in meditation. They sit for a few minutes, then they start to feel restless, agitated, and they cannot concentrate anymore. That's because they don't have strong concentration or mindfulness. So they should try to develop strong concentration or mindfulness by focusing their attention on something, on one thing, all the time, such as the body. Use the body as your point of concentration or focus. Whatever you do, just keep watching your body, stay with your body, don't let your mind go think about other things. If you can do this, you will have strong concentration, strong mindfulness. And then when you sit down, the defilement will not be able to create this bad feeling to obstruct your meditation. If they do, you can overcome them by just keep concentrating on your object of meditation. Then eventually your mind will become singularity, become one, and stop thinking. So you have to develop a lot of mindfulness, not just during the time when you meditate. You have to do before that. You should do it all the time. Anytime that you don't have to use your mind to think about something important, then you should not let it think. You should stop it by using a mantra or by focusing on your body.
The third question is what is kilesha and how to overcome the kilesha?
Kilesa are defilements. They are greed, hate, and delusion. Greed is your desire to have this and that thing. This is greed. And hatred arises from you're not be able to get what you want. When you want something and you cannot get it, then you get angry. You get hate. If somebody stop you from getting what you want, you hate that person. So, and delusion arises from your ignorance. To think that things that you want will make you happy. In fact, they make you more unhappy. You don't know where the real happiness is. This is what ignorance is. The real happiness is to stop your greed and hate by meditating, by stopping, do all kinds of activity directed by your cravings and your desire. Because the thing that you can get from your craving and your desire is temporary happiness. Sooner or later they will disappear, and when they disappear, you'll be left empty-handed. You feel that you have to have something else, something more. So you just keep on craving and desiring, without coming to an end. So the only way to have contentment and true happiness is to stop your defilements, stop your greed, by stopping your delusion, by applying the wisdom of the Buddha that teaches us that everything that we desire for are anicca, dukkhang, anatta. Anicca is impermanent. Dukkhang will make you suffer. Anatta, you cannot control them. They come and go as they want. When they go, it will make you sad. So it's better not to be involved with any of these things in this world, because they will eventually make you unhappy. So it's better once you can apply this wisdom of the Buddha to stop your greed and hatred. When you have no greed, hatred, no delusion, then your mind will be always peaceful, content and happy. Because the thing that makes you discontent is your defilement, your kilesa, your greed, hatred and delusion.
And the last question, it's about the hindrance, the 5 hindrances.
The 5 hindrances.
Can you explain, please?
The 5 hindrances, these are the conditions in your mind that create obstruction to your meditation. First we call doubt. Doubt in the Buddha, Dhamma or the Sangha, that they can help you find peace and happiness. You might not be convinced yet. You might doubt whether there's the real Buddha or not, whether his teaching is real or not, genuine or not, effective or not. So you need to talk to someone who have experienced the result from the teaching of the Buddha. Usually you have to talk to an enlightened person, because an enlightened person is someone who knows, for instance, who knows whether this car dealer sell you good car or bad car. If he buy from this dealer and he got good cars, then he can convince you, go to this dealer, he's good, he's not gonna lie to you. So this is the same way. You have to talk to an enlightened person, because an enlightened person will vouch for the teaching of the Buddha, will guarantee that the teachings of the Buddha is real, is good for you. So this is the first thing. If you cannot find an enlightened person, then you have to rely on the teaching of the Buddha himself, which are recorded in the Tipitaka. You can use that as something to help you have faith, have conviction, and get rid of your doubt that way. But the most important thing to entirely get rid of your doubt is to apply his teaching yourself. Because once you have applied and you see the result from your practice, then you will have no doubt anymore. This is usually happen to an enlightened person, the Sotapanna. Once he have applied the Four Noble Truths in himself, he sees clearly that his suffering, his bad feeling arises from his desire. And by seeing that the thing that he desires for is impermanent, that cannot provide true happiness, then he stops his desire for these things. When he stops, then his mind becomes peaceful and calm and happy. So he had no doubt in the Four Noble Truths, no doubt in the teacher who taught this Four Noble Truths. So he had no doubt in the Buddha, Dhamma or the Sangha, because he himself become a Sangha, become a noble disciple. So this is the one way to get rid. There are many different steps to get rid of your doubt. First, by studying or listening to an enlightened person. This will get rid of your doubt, but not entirely. You have to practice, apply this teaching until you see the result in your mind. Then you will get rid of the doubt 100%. Second hindrance is called sensual pleasure, sensual desire. So if you have desire to watch television, you cannot concentrate on your meditation. So you have to force yourself to stop going after your sensual desire. Cut down on your social activities, or your entertainment activities. And then the best way to have crave your sensual pleasure or your desire is to go live in a place where there is nothing for you to entertain or to see or watch, like staying in a monastery, a forest monastery. Then this sensual pleasure cannot happen, because sensual desire cannot happen, because there's nothing for you to see or do except meditate. So this is the second one. Third one, when you meditate, sometimes you get angry. Maybe angry because before you come to meditate, you quarrel with your wife, quarrel with someone, had an issue with somebody, and you cannot concentrate on your meditation. Then you have to somehow get rid of this anger first. One way to get rid of this anger is to use loving kindness or compassion by forgiving the person that caused you the anger. Say, instead of hating that person, you should love that person. If you can switch your mind from hatred to love by forgiving that person, by using reason that whatever happens, it already happened. A glass is already broken, you cannot bring it back by being angry. But it only causes you anger and restlessness. So if you want to get rid of anger and restlessness, you have to forgive or forget. Okay, this is the third hindrance, anger. Fourth, sloth or torpor, meaning being lazy, sleepy all the time. The result of sleepiness or laziness is one of the causes for eating too much. What you normally eat is too much as opposed to a meditator. If you want to be a meditator, you have to reduce your food consumption drastically. Mostly they recommend that you only eat just 2 meals a day. And before lunch, after lunch you should not eat anything anymore, because then in the afternoon you can meditate because your body will become light. But if you continue on eating in the evening, you would find no time to meditate, and whatever time you meditate, you will always be drowsy or sleepy and lazy. So you have to reduce down your food consumption. For monks, the Buddha recommends eating once a day. But for lay people, they might not be strong enough yet, so he recommends not after lunch, not after midday. This will help get rid of your drowsiness or sleepiness. And if you still feel sleepy, you might have to fast. You might have to stop eating for a day or two. Or if fasting is not good for you, you cannot use this method. Another method is to go stay in a place where it's very scary, like in a cemetery or in a forest where you have to be alone. Then you will not be sleepy. Okay, the last hindrance is restlessness and agitation. You are restless and agitated because you're not focusing on something to stop you from thinking. Your restlessness and agitation arise from your thought. Think about this and that. So you have to use mindfulness. You have to constantly be mindful. Using a mantra or focusing on what your body is doing at the moment, all the time. Not just during meditation. Because if you do that, when you sit, your mind still become restless. But you have to get rid of this restlessness before you come and sit. So these are the 5 hindrances and the method how to deal with them. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much, Ajahn.
All right. Okay.
Jack, Mr. Zach Chia. Dear respectable Ajahn, may I ask how should we prepare someone who is going to die with their last breath and their mental state? What is the correct mental state before our last minute or second of our death?
Well, your last minute of your death, you cannot control your mind, because it will be the karma that you have done during your lifetime they will come take over your mind at the last moment. So what you should do, if you're still alive, try to create a lot of good karma and try to avoid doing bad karma. Then the sum total of the karma will be on the positive, on the good side. Then this good and positive karma will calm the mind and will send the mind to a good state of existence. Or if you're a meditator, you can use mindfulness to calm your mind. When you are sick, when you know that you're gonna have to go pretty soon, just use mindfulness to calm your mind by reciting a mantra, by watching your breath. And if you are on the level of Dhamma, on Vipassana, you can then contemplate the impermanent nature of the body and let go of the body. Don't cling to the body. Let the body die. You are the mind. You don't die with the body, but your mind will be feeling bad if you cling to the body, because your mind don't want your body to die. If you want your mind to be peaceful and calm, then you have to look at the body as impermanent. Look at it as a four element, not yourself. You are not the body, you are the mind. So what you have to separate your mind from the body by letting the body be. If the body is gonna stop breathing, let it stop breathing. If the body is gonna be painful, let it be painful. Don't try to do anything to the body. If you cannot, if you could, like, if the doctor could help you with medicine, you can fix the body, fix it. But if you cannot fix it, then you just have to let it happen, let it be. Then your mind will be peaceful and calm.
Another English question from Miss Best Bindia. What is the purpose of being born on this earth?
It's not the purpose of being born. It's the result of your cravings and desires. Yeah. There's no purpose in being born. The purpose is to satisfy your craving and your desire. Because you need a body to see, to hear things. You have cravings to see, to hear things, to touch, to feel things. So you need to have a body. As soon as you lose this body, your mind will go look for a new body. And when you get a new body, then you can then come back and do what your mind wants to do. Wants to see, want to hear, want to feel, want to touch. So this is the reason why we are born, or the causes of our birth. But birth is not good according to the wise men, because in this world there's not only happiness, because there is also unhappiness or sadness, because the nature of the happiness is temporary. When we lose the happiness, then what we have next is sadness or unhappiness. And the body is the same way. The body, when it's young, it's strong, it's healthy, it can do a lot of things, bring you a lot of happiness. But when it gets sick and die, then it will bring you a lot of unhappiness. So with wise men, they think that birth is not good. It's better not to be born again. And the way not to be born again is to get rid of your cravings and your desire. And the way to get rid of your craving and your desire, you need to practice meditation. 2 levels, calming the mind and then teaching the mind the problem with cravings that is bad for you. It will only lead you to sadness and suffering. Once you have developed this understanding and developed the ability to stop your mind from cravings, you won't have to come back and reborn again. By not being reborn doesn't mean you disappear. Your mind is still there, but in a state where you don't have to need a body to make you happy. You can be happy without having a body all the time, forever, eternally.